It may not feel like it, but the NBA offseason is technically here for most of the league already. There are still 8 teams left battling it out in the playoffs, but for the other 22 teams, they're at home shifting their focus onto next season and the moves they'll be making to hopefully improve. We're in the second round of the playoffs after we saw 8 teams eliminated in the first round, and this brings us to the topic of today's video. As we've done several times on this channel already, we'll be looking at an article published by national media outlet Bleacher Report, where they put together trade packages to help improve every team that lost in the first round. We'll be going over how realistic the trades are, who would win the deal, and what the downsides of each trade would be. And if you want to read the actual article itself, it will be linked in the description. Before we start though, it turns out about 62% of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so please, if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but I would also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first trade suggested is for the Boston Celtics, and in the deal they give up Kemba Walker, Aaron Nesmith, Robert Williams, Romeo Langford, a 2021 first-round pick, a 2022 first-round pick swap, a 2023 first-round pick that's unprotected, a 2024 first-round pick swap, and a 2025 first-round pick that's unprotected. All that in exchange for Damian Lillard from the Trailblazers. This is certainly one of the most ambitious and aggressive blockbuster trades featured in this article. However, despite all of the draft capital offered and all of the young talent along with Kemba Walker in the deal, I still don't think it would happen. Damian Lillard means so much to the Portland area, and their focus should remain on how to build a better team around Lillard instead of giving up on the Lillard era completely and starting over. And if they did this deal, then starting over would be essentially what they're doing. Kemba Walker is clearly over the hill and past his former All-Star caliber prime. The young players in the deal have shown glimpses but are still huge question marks, and the draft picks offered would all likely be at the end of the first round anyway, so the value diminishes for sure, and because of that, I believe the Blazers declined the offer. The next trade is for the Dallas Mavericks, and in it they give up Kristaps Porzingis in exchange for Darius Bazley and a second-round pick from the Thunder. Right away, this trade seems preposterous and absurdly lopsided. However, the reasoning given in the article did at least put it into perspective. Yes, despite Porzingis' value diminishing after his performances in the playoffs, he is still an incredibly talented player with a unique skill set that can produce at a high level, and also, yes, Darius Bazley is a raw young player that is still a few years away from putting it all together, and even then probably won't be close to the player that Porzingis is. However, the stated reasoning for doing this deal isn't necessarily for the Mavericks to extract equal value. It would be simply to free themselves from Porzingis' massive contract and open themselves up to a ton more cap space in the coming free agency periods, where they could potentially lure another star player to the team to help with Luka Doncic. Finding a legitimate number 2 option for Luka Doncic is not going to be easy with Porzingis eating away at their payroll, so for that reason, I could see them doing a deal similar to this. Maybe not this exact trade, but they'll have to be bold to take advantage of the gem that they have with Luka, and this is certainly bold. The next trade is for the Los Angeles Lakers, and in it they give up Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, a 2023 second-round pick, and a 2024 second-round pick in exchange for Russell Westbrook from the Wizards. This is another massive proposition that could get the Lakers right back into the mix at the top, at least on paper. Russell Westbrook, as polarizing as he is, still produces at an elite level, and brings the kind of creation that the Lakers desperately missed from their players in the backcourt this season. They hoped Dennis Schroeder could be a nice balanced ball handler for them that could score and create to relieve LeBron's workload, but that just didn't work out in the playoffs. It would be a weird fit with either LeBron or Westbrook having to embrace more of an off-ball style, but I don't doubt that they could do it and make it work. What would be concerning though is the spacing out on the floor, with none of LeBron, Westbrook, or Anthony Davis exactly being knockdown perimeter shooters. shooters. On the flip side though, I don't even think the Wizards would do this trade because they insist that they're trying to build a winner around Bradley Beal, and this trade is not something that would back that statement up. It's not an egregious offer by any means, but ultimately it just does not seem likely. The next trade is for the Memphis Grizzlies, and in it they give up Brandon Clark, Justice Winslow, Grayson Allen, and a 2021 first-round pick in exchange for Jeremy Grant from the Pistons. When Jeremy Grant signed with the Pistons last offseason, he wanted to prove that he could embrace more of a go-to role offensively, and that's exactly what he did this year. I also don't necessarily get the feeling that the Pistons are completely set on keeping him long-term, because they are at the beginning of a rebuild, and he doesn't exactly fit their timeline. Acquiring young project players like the ones in this trade, along with a first-round pick that would be likely to land somewhere in the middle of the first round, would be terrific value to get back for Grant, and for the Grizzlies, he would be a perfect addition to the team's front court. The team has made the playoffs each of the last 2 seasons, with Ja Morant leading the way, and they gave the Jazz quite a few problems in the first round despite losing in 5 games, so getting another 20-point scorer who plays very strong, versatile defense would literally be a match made in heaven for them. I think this is the most realistic trade that we've discussed yet, and would be exciting for me if it actually came into fruition. The next trade is for the Miami Heat, and in it they give up Tyler Hero, Goran Dragic, Kezi Okpala in exchange for Malcolm Brogdon and TJ Warren from the Pacers. This would leave a pretty sour taste in the mouths of Heat fans after the team refused to give up Hero for a superstar like James Harden earlier this season, but if this kind of deal presents itself, then the team would definitely have to pounce on it. A lineup of Brogdon, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, TJ Warren, and Bam Adebayo would be incredibly balanced on both sides of the ball. They would be stout defensively, they would be much more functional offensively, and they could even find themselves back at the top of the conference after a disappointing first-round exit. The Pacers could also be intrigued with this deal because of the potential of Tyler Hero, as they currently are stuck in the limbo zone of the East, and if Hero does eventually pan out as a star-caliber player, he could help lift them from it. If anything, the Pacers would be the ones to decline this offer, but if they value Hero's upside, it's not a deal that's completely out of the question. The next trade is for the New York Knicks, and in it they give up Emmanuel Quickley, Obi Toppin, and Kevin Knox, and in exchange, they get CJ McCollum from the Trailblazers. I said previously that the Blazers will be looking for ways to build around Damian Lillard, and they may have to get adventurous along the way, but this is the exact opposite of doing that. I literally don't see a single reason why the Blazers would want to do this trade. Sure, Quickley had a pretty promising rookie season this year and exceeded all expectations, but Kevin Knox is on the verge of being a total bust, and Obi Toppin's season didn't exactly help much with his trade value. I obviously understand why the Knicks would want to do this trade, because adding a player of McCollum's caliber as a shot creator would help out immensely on offense after they struggled mightily on that end against the Hawks in the playoffs, but this package just is not good enough to land someone of CJ McCollum's caliber. The next trade now is actually for the Trailblazers, and in it we have a 3-team deal with the full details of the trade being shown on your screen. Adding both Miles Turner and Marcus Smart would be a gift from the basketball gods for a team like the Blazers, who really struggled all year long on defense, because both of those players are very impactful defenders. I could even see the Celtics being intrigued with adding a big man like Yusuf Nurkic to help shore up the inside after their season went by, as that being a weak point. However, where this trade falls apart for me is the return that the Pacers are getting for what they are giving up. Miles Turner is one of the best rim protectors in the NBA on defense, and to give him up and only get back Anthony Simons and Tristan Thompson is something that would not make any sense, because Thompson is significantly older than Turner while also being a pretty worse player, and Simons has only ever been a decent backup in the league so far. If they could maybe throw in some draft picks the Pacers' way, or even get some more value elsewhere to give to them, then the trade would be much more balanced overall, but as the offer currently stands, the Pacers would definitely be the ones to say no. And finally, the last trade is for the Washington Wizards, and in it they give up Davis Bertans and Thomas Bryant, and in exchange they receive Al Horford from the Thunder. This is a pretty interesting final trade because it's basically a swap of bad contracts in order to maximize the value of their money spent. Horford proved this season that he wasn't completely washed as many assumed he was. He was just a really bad fit for the 76ers where he played last season. He would definitely be an upgrade both offensively and defensively for the Wizards' interior, and his experience would do wonders for their ability to contend after Beal and Westbrook basically had to drag a team of young players without any real experience to the playoffs. The Wizards don't have much to work with in terms of assets, so they have to maximize the value they extract with what they have, and this would probably be as good of a deal as they could find out on the market. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the hypothetical trades in this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.